of, embrace being an idiot. Welcome to week 8 and 9 of Silly Goose Tarot. My name's Emma. I'm an artist. I'm making my own tarot deck, and this is a series of me making that tarot deck and processing like the meaning of the cards as I make the deck. It's very fun. Lots of introspection is involved. It's a good time, you know. This week we're doing rapid fire. We got double the cards. We got 6 cards we gotta go through, so we gotta do them quick. Also happen to be some of like the most important and like positive cards in tarot. Some of the big boys, some of the big hitters. The cards for this week are the Sun, the Two of Pentacles, Strength, Queen of Cups, the World, and the Eight of Pentacles. Starting strong, our first card of the week is the Sun. Often referred to as the best card in tarot, but you know, there are many good cards, so it's all up to opinion. But this card represents vitality, brilliance, happiness, and blessings. When you see this card, it is a reminder to focus on the positive aspects of life. Maybe you have some fun things coming up. Maybe you have like a date planned or vacation. Or maybe you go on a walk and the weather outside is nice. You know, a good day doesn't have to be anything out of the ordinary. It's just, you know, appreciating the good times when you're in them. I personally got back from an awesome beach vacation last week. If I'm going to be honest, it was a little bit of a mix because unfortunately we got sick during vacation. So, you know, that sucks. You know, there's always reality. Unfortunately, we cannot escape biology. So, yeah, it was hot and we got sick. So that kind of sucks. But I also now have some really awesome memories. And the resort we were staying at was breathtakingly beautiful. And as a, you know, artistic, visually centered person, you know, sometimes that's all it takes. I just gotta look at something pretty, and that makes me happy. My favorite part of the vacation was actually the first, like, full day we were there. Theodore woke up at 4:45 a.m. and would not stop yelling and screaming. So I had to take him on a walk. So like it was like 5 a.m. when we finally got out, and we just walked around this huge resort, and I just got to explore, and it was so gorgeous. How you doing, buddy? Pretty, huh? Still there? And that moment, like that like hour of that walk was like the best part of the vacation for me. That was like that'll stick in my soul forever. And then the next day I started puking my guts out. But you know, that one moment was pretty awesome. And there were other awesome moments, like, you know, even though I got sick, and then Theodore got sick, and then Shane got sick, you know, like in between those moments, there were some really wonderful, beautiful times. So it's like, you know, even though reality sometimes sucks and nothing is as wonderful as your expectations for it, it's just like, you know, finding happiness in the small moments. It was also really nice and refreshing to just like take a break from normal everyday life. And maybe because we got sick on vacation, we were very excited to come home. So it made like, you know, the coming home process and like getting back into our normal schedule like pretty exciting. I have since gotten another stomach bug, so I think Susan is trying to play a practical joke on me, and I'm not enjoying it. What the fuck, Susan? But other than that, life has been going really well. And I think that break really helped me renew my drive. I think it gave my brain time to process a lot of the things I've learned. And now I have a better outlook from where I want to go from here. Next up, Two of Pentacles, another very important card. This card is about prioritization, decisions, budgeting, and balance. Sometimes life can just feel like a juggling act, especially when you have a lot going on. And learning not to take on more than you can chew, is an important lesson that I think we all learn at some point. Finding that balance has been a lifelong journey for me, and I'm still learning that lesson, and I don't know if I will ever 100% learn it. I think this might be a lifelong battle for me. But I've definitely gotten significantly better at it. I used to be horrible. I definitely feel like I have a cycle of working myself too hard, burning out, and then being depressed. And then cycle continues. Get motivation, start doing something, work too hard, get overwhelmed, struggle, burn out, and then be depressed. Oh God, so many years of my life. I feel like that's what I did. But as of right now, I feel like I've reached a good pace, I can juggle. I'm juggling just fine right now with the stuff I've got going on. But I have to be careful not to overload myself, because like many other creative people, I have a lot of ideas that I want to do, and then the ADHD of it all makes it very hard to prioritize what I want to do. My solution to this has been really just focus on one thing and then going to the end, just finishing. I am not allowed to start another project until this project is done, because this project that I'm doing right now is the perfect building blocks, creating a great foundation for myself in order to be able to do the other things I want to do. I'm prioritizing learning how to make a well-structured and interesting YouTube video. I've definitely gotten better. I've definitely improved. And by the time I'm done with this tarot deck, my hope is that I can make a pretty entertaining, interesting video. That's the goal for the social media side. And then the product side, I think that the tarot deck is turning out pretty great and is very cute, and I can definitely see a target audience for this product, quote unquote. And then I get to go through the experience of getting it manufactured, and then figuring out maybe distributors, trying to get it in stores. So that's going to be a great building block for a business that I would like to have. And a big lesson I've learned is that going slow and steady is significantly better than trying to do it rushed and as fast as possible and burning yourself out, and then it never gets done. Patience is indeed a virtue. Sometimes you go your whole life just to learn basic old proverbs that they figured out thousands of years ago. But, here we are. The next card is Strength. This was my first attempt at the card, but I decided I wanted to do something different. So here is the second attempt. Ooh. This card represents discipline, patience, confidence, but most importantly, it represents courage and kindness. This card is about going within and conquering your own inner lion. When things are stressful and you feel overwhelmed and, all those negative emotions, it's easy to lose control of yourself. And, that control over yourself is something we're not born with. Humans are not born with emotional intelligence and regulation. That is something that has to be learned. I know that because I'm currently raising a 1.5-year-old who's figured out how to scream on the top of his lungs. And obviously he's a baby. He's experiencing all these emotions for the first time. His brain's underdeveloped. Not his fault. It's just the growing process. And as you get older, you get much better at controlling your emotions. Well, at least some of us. Some people suck at it forever. And that's where, wisdom, age, and discipline really, really come into play. Even though I'm still young at the, age of 27, I definitely have come to realize that most things are not a big deal at all. I think a lot of being young is learning how to untangle a lot of these emotional twists and turns that you've developed while you've been growing up, and different traumas and different more negative life experiences. Figuring out how your brain chemistry works and what systems work for you, because a lot of us were pushed into systems that were not designed for how we work, and then we were told that we were the problem and not the fact that everyone is unique, and that I'm specifically thinking about school systems and stuff like that. Let me tell you, I really appreciate being an adult. I really appreciate being able to craft a life and an environment that works for me. I have complete control over this. I mean, obviously I have a partner, so we're in control together and we make decisions together, but for me, not having a boss anymore, being able to not work, which is a privilege, obviously. Thank you to my dearest husband for taking on the financial burden for our family. Love you, you're the best. But now being able to develop a system for myself and not have anybody to, I get so much anxiety. I've definitely something I need to work on. Especially when I have a boss, I always feel like I'm in trouble. I don't know why. That's something I gotta unpack still. But since working for myself, there's nobody to be in trouble with. The only person I have to be in trouble with is basically God and the government. If I don't pay taxes or whatever. Because, even my spouse is my equal, so that, I got nobody lording over me, and I think that's the way I was meant to be. The Strength card is about developing an emotional resilience so that when you have those bad days, you're not taking it out on your spouse and your family, or even poor service workers that are just doing their job. It's learning that your emotions are your responsibility, even if somebody made you mad, and being able to transmute those feelings into a productive discussion. Next up, Queen of Cups. This card represents insight, spirituality, compassion, and caring. The cup suit corresponds with the water element, which represents emotions, and the queens of each suit represent obviously the more feminine qualities of the suit. The Queen of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles, respectively, I think have the most nurturing energy to them, besides the Empress, but the Empress is the biggest. It's all the queens put together is how I imagine the Empress card. This card to me kind of represents being emotionally available to the people around you. The Queen of Cups kind of already has emotional fulfillment, so she has enough space to give to other people. That's kind of how I think of it, at least. I'm somebody who was born very sensitive, which was probably one of my biggest challenges growing up. There are a lot of positives and negatives. Being very empathetic is a positive, but also just having that feeling of being more affected than other people by certain things. But now that I'm older, I'm very good at sussing out vibes. When you go somewhere and you can just feel the toxic environment. Now, especially as a mother, I'm definitely the keeper of my own peace. I feel some people go their whole lives without learning the value of peace. You know, the people who crave like excitement and drama above all else. People who bounce like from toxic relationship to toxic relationship. Some people get addicted to emotional volatility, and then when they experience something that feels like peace, it's boring to them. It doesn't feel right to them because their brain is used to the super highs and the super lows. And so just like a constant baseline in the middle seems boring in comparison. But let me be the first one to tell you, if you are somebody like this, or you know somebody like this, that emotional volatility is going to be eating up a lot of your energy. It takes away a lot of your focus and time to be in a toxic relationship. And look, I've been toxic in the past. I've been in toxic relationships. You know, I think it's very normal, especially when you're young and you're still figuring yourself out and somebody else out, and like how to even be in a relationship. Like there's a lot of struggling involved in the beginning, I feel like. But now I have that strong, healthy, stable relationship, and I could never go back. No thank you, I will just keep this one forever. You know, that's why we got married. And neither one of us started perfect. We both had some red flags. I was a walking red flag, actually, because I had just broken up with a previous relationship 2 weeks prior to our first date. So, you know, and I told him that on the first date. And so, you know, but thankfully he decided that, you know, I was worth the trouble. So we had to work through a lot in the beginning, but you know, once we kind of like understood each other and like figured each other out, we were able to build a wonderful, lasting foundation for the rest of our lives together. And it is very wonderful to have a relationship that is a source of strength and emotional connection, and not one that's just like a black hole sucking up all your energy and that like never gets better. Because that's what a toxic relationship is. It's just like a black hole of just chaos. And obviously, like, the romantic DLC in life is an optional feature. But for me, my family is a priority. It's something I've always wanted ever since I was a little child. And it is something I have found great satisfaction and fulfillment in. I cannot stress how important like emotional intelligence is, and I highly recommend therapy, philosophy, or psychology, whatever thing works for you. Next up, we have the World. This is the last card in the major arcana cycle. So I think there are 22 major arcana cards in tarot. This is the end. It's the end of the Fool's journey. It's the completion, so it represents wholeness, completion, and success. When you pull this card, it might symbolize that like a certain cycle in your life is coming to an end. But as one chapter ends, another chapter starts, you know? It's never the end. It's like a cycle. You just keep, you end with the World, and then you start a new cycle as the Fool again. I definitely feel in some way that I feel like I've leveled up. I've gained a new sense of like self-confidence in myself, that I am capable, and that I do indeed get better at things as I do them. I feel less like a beginner now, and more like I'm entering the intermediate era of at least this project. I feel like I found my groove, and that I can continue to like min-max life a little bit. Not like crazy. Like you don't want to over-optimize to the point where like you don't have fun anymore. But like I definitely want to try to make the most out of the free time I do have. Like right now, it's 11:47 a.m. on a Friday. I've had much better time management skills this week, and I didn't even have a babysitter until today. So, progress. That's a good sign. When I see this card, I kind of feel like I've reached a checkpoint in life. Like I can sit and save my progress and just like enjoy where I am. You know, appreciate the little successes. Even, you know, just finishing a project 12 hours early, you know? I got a lot of stuff ahead of me that's probably going to be very difficult. But, you know, instead of dwelling on that and getting overwhelmed, just appreciating where I am in the moment. Because I have confidence in myself that future me is going to figure it out. It's just, you know, she has to deal with one thing at a time. Just like I'm doing now. The last card of this week is the Eight of Pentacles. This card represents work, dedication, talent, and skill development. Now I've already taken the time to explain, you know, how I feel like I'm developing in skills. So I'm going to take this time to rant a little bit, so buckle up. Basically, the thing that inspired this rant was seeing a thumbnail on YouTube about AI and how to use it to generate content so you don't have to actually put any effort into the content that you're making. And I can't help but feel how stupid and backwards, you know, everything seems right now. I wish more people gave a shit about the impact that they leave on the world, you know? I'm a full believer in posting on the internet or whatever when you have something to say. You know, it doesn't have to be spectacularly groundbreaking, but at least you have something you want to put out into the world. No, instead people want to make AI sludge content that's just a regurgitation of a bunch of information and graphics that have already been made by somebody else, because that's what AI does. The worst part about having AI do stuff for you is that you're just robbing yourself of the opportunity to learn how to do that thing yourself. I have no problem in using AI as a tool, but using it to do everything? Do you have no creative bone in your body? I think it bugs me so much because it's just the growing trend of everything just missing a soul. Really feels like the motive of profit over everything else has just made everything so shitty. I feel especially in America, we kind of just have a culture of apathy. The coolest people are the ones that care the least. And that is stupid. I do not subscribe to that ideology. I want to care the most. If you try to take the easy way out every time, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Developing a work ethic and being dedicated to a task is helpful to you. You know, I'm not saying you have to go work really hard to make someone else super rich or something like that. I'm saying work really hard and give a shit about something because you get something out of it. My grandfather was a carpenter who would work on houses growing up, and he would bring my dad, who was a teenager at the time, to come work with him at the construction sites. And, you know, my dad didn't really have a choice in the matter, but now my dad can build a house from the ground up. You know how valuable that skill is? And that's not even his job. He does that for fun. My hope for the future is that we have an economy that pivots back to small businesses and talented craftsmen. That is what I want. I want people to give a shit about what they do, because I think that's better for everyone involved. And the only thing I can do is control my own actions and, you know, be the change you want to see in the world, all that jazz. So I will continue to make AI write my video descriptions that nobody reads, but I will always make my own art, and that is a promise. I've been very inspired as of late to start working more on my technical skills, because it's only going to make me a better artist, and then I can make cooler stuff. Here we are. These are the finished cards for the week. I just printed them out in cardstock, and the labels are not going to be the final product. So this is about what they'll look like, but not exactly. Let me know what card is your favorite. I'm interested to know. It's hard for me to have favorites because I'm I love them all. They're all my babies. Shane said that the sun was his favorite. So quantity-wise, this is like the most I've ever drawn. I've never been able to like do like a series before, like mentally for some reason. So it's really exciting to like actually see a huge project like this coming together. And I think the biggest thing I've learned through this project is really just enjoy the journey. Like I feel like the anticipation of every week and like seeing the slow build and the small successes every week really has helped my confidence. My advice to my past self, let's say, is that like the beginning part is the hardest because you have no idea what you're doing. Like you don't have any structures really in place yet. It's just gonna be like harder to do things in general. It's gonna take you so much longer. But eventually you're gonna have an idea and a process down of what you want, and you're gonna be able to start whipping stuff out like quicker and quicker. It's all practice. All skills are just, they're all the same. It's, you just do it on repeat. You start off shitty, you keep doing it, and you get better. There's no like secret magic. It is just that for everything. Anything you want to learn, anything you want to figure out how to do, that's it. It's simple. The idea of like posting it publicly definitely is a hurdle you have to get over because nobody wants to look like an idiot, but kind of, you know, embrace being an idiot. Be the fool, you know. That's the whole part about tarot, is just like let yourself do it. Just take the step. Be the fool, okay? And don't take life too seriously. Don't take the fun out of everything. Like, you only get one life. Presumably, who knows, really, you know. Do you want to live a life miserable, making yourself miserable, full of anxiety, stressing over every little decision you make, and like wanting to have an appearance of somebody who has everything together and has never failed at anything in their entire life? Or do you want to just like do the things that you want to do and then fuck everybody else? Because who cares? They'll probably be nice, you know? My biggest hurdle was myself, and I think that's probably like a majority of people probably also fall in that category. I would like to end the video with some wisdom from the garden, the Flower Petals Oracle deck. I have no idea how to pronounce this flower, but its wisdom is set boundaries well to ensure good growth. Thank you, flowers. I appreciate it. Also, I'm really excited because I went shopping for like the first time in a while for like clothes and stuff for vacation, and I went to Marshall's and look at this big fucking bow. Isn't that so exciting? Bows are in. I'm living for it. It's my era. Bows. I want like just a bunch of giant bows.